right to that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. We'll run through the roll call quick. David? Here. Jeff? Here. Scott? Here. Howard's here. Deanne?
Here.
Brian? Here. Kirk?
Here.
Okay. All members are present. The meeting properly notified?
Yes, it was.
Okay. With that, we will open it up. We have comments from board members and superintendent. Starting with the third Friday count in September.
Just would like to report that, as Jen mentioned briefly in the budget report, our third Friday count is up 60 students, 1,673 resident students. And again, that's does not include our open enrolled in students. It does include open enrolled out. As of our last report was 137 kids. But as of last report, we have 359 open enrolled in as well. So that's a good sign. Obviously, a count is an important number in our fiscal management.
Our overall count was what? Count in the resident students is where are we at?
673 is our third Friday pupil count, but that includes our 137 that open enroll out as well. And then, well, later on in our board recognition, we'll thank all the individuals that are involved in that, but it is a very time-consuming, critical task that they do very well, and it is very much appreciated. And kudos for a great job. Yeah, the air handlers, I think, are really messed up.
It's the volume.
And I don't think there's a way to turn that up or anything.
Okay. Any other questions or comments regarding a third Friday September membership count? Okay. Thanks, Tim. And thank you to the ladies for doing that count accurately. Next item on the agenda is it's Wisconsin School Board Appreciation Week, October 4th through 10th, which is this week. I want to thank those that brought the fruit, meat trays, cheese, and the water. So much appreciated. I'd like to thank those individuals for that, and I would like to thank every one of the board members for your service. So thank you.
Thank you as well.
So this year's been kind of a tough year, but that's why we're here, is to provide service to our community. So whether we appreciate it or not, we do get support from the community. So thank you all. If anybody else has any comments they want to make. Do we have any other comments from board members or superintendent on any other?
Oh, said it well.
Okay, with that, then we will move on to the next item. We don't have any scheduled presentations to my knowledge. Moves us to the next item, which is our consent agenda, which consists of our approval of our bi-monthly bills for October 2020. We have no resignations or retirements. The approval of the appointment of Beth Fogarty as a 20-hour per week elementary virtual ed teacher. And I don't believe there's any other items on our consent agenda at this time. So we entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion, Kirk, second Brian, to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, with the next item, we have our keyword school boards, starting with our student, staff, and community recognition. So, do you have those, Brian?
Yep.
Okay.
Pam, who only needs a first name, because everybody knows Pam. Amy Bohada, Lori Kress, Heather Wester, Andrea Felberg, Tammy Murr, Jen Kleschel, Tina Bauer, and Kim Gunderson. Great job on a successful student count. This has become increasingly complex and is critically important to our school funding. You are appreciated. Thank you to all of them for the good work.
Okay. Thank you. And I want to thank those individuals for their hard work. This is critically important to our state funding. We need to get it accurate. Make sure that we do not undercount or overcount our students, because it affects our state aid quite a bit. It's either over or undercounted. So accuracy is vital. So very much appreciate the hard work. So thank you all. Then the next item is discussion on the future needs and district priorities. Tim, I think you have some stuff from the Donovan group.
Yep, Joe and I had follow-up communication after the last board meeting, some things we talked about, dates. So the admin meeting just couldn't get it in the agenda last Tuesday, but it's on the agenda for tomorrow to pick those 4 dates with the community, 2 dates with the staff, get them nailed down. He's recommending a virtual, those are virtual meetings. He's done a lot of this, he said, since the pandemic. So we can talk technology. We do have a phone call set up for later this week to go over these details. Their organization will draft the invitation and postcards, send out to everyone in the district for our staff. Also, there'll be like a sign-up type of session, logistically for those meetings. Somebody in charge of taking minutes and notes, go over ground rules of those meetings. Co-chairs, still looking for your help in identifying a couple possible co-chairs for those meetings. And then obviously the agendas. So we'll work on those details this week and proceed. Any questions or comments in regards to that?
Yeah, sounds good. Just need to get those meetings set and get things rolling. Any other questions with regards to that? Any other issues with the district needs and priorities item? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to the next item, which is our 4-day school week survey and discussion.
All right, I'm sharing a screen, so the folks joining us virtually should be able to see that as well. And if you can't hear me, just drop something in the comments section, please, and I'll try to speak up or move the camera even closer. Also, I ask, if you have questions or comments during the presentation, just put them in the comments section, please. Lindsay's monitoring that. We'll work those in, and then of course at the end of the presentation will be opportunity for discussion with obviously school board administration, and I assume it's okay for the folks joining us virtually to join as well. I know it's not a community feedback session, but
We'll take comments as
at the end. Okay. All right, so I just want to thank everyone for their patience, understanding, collaboration, and assistance as we continue to keep our doors open, provide the best educational experience possible for our students during this challenging time. Again, thank you. So the why. I figure we start with why. We see this as the most sustainable way to continue to provide our students the educational opportunities that align with our mission. So some key words there, I think, I want to point out: sustainability. We don't believe the path we are currently down is sustainable for the school year. And we always, the board is wonderful at this, aligning with our mission to prepare our students with exceptional character, knowledge, and skills to thrive in their changing world. In order to do that, our educators need to be at their best. And we believe this plan allows our educators to be their best to deliver our mission. This would allow our staff more time to communicate, to provide timely feedback to students and parents, allow our staff to create and plan more effective lessons that can be both facilitated by both types of learners, whether in person or at home temporarily because of quarantine. More time to collaborate in grade level or content level teams. If the decision is to go with a Monday or to go with this plan and it's a Monday or Friday, that would allow for a natural 72-hour isolation period to mitigate COVID spread. And if Wednesday is chosen, I mean, that's beneficial as well with the midweek extensive cleaning day. And obviously there are advantages to that midweek break academically as well. There's pros and cons to whatever day we pick. And that will be considered at the end. So some people ask, well, why didn't we go with plan B or C that we had talked about and planned extensively for this summer? We had a better idea. Plan B or C, in our minds, was going to be because the pandemic, the COVID virus, impacted and spread too much within our school. We didn't necessarily foresee the stress and it would place on our staff. And that's what Plan D is comprised of with that in mind. So the administrative team has observed all these things. First of all, it's our observation. I want to point out that our staff are incredible troopers. They did not complain. They have not complained. This was an observation. The administrative team was sharing and came up with this idea. It wasn't out of our staff complaining. I want to make that very clear. So all staff are stepping up and helping out. Several members, because of close contacts especially, several staff are out. And the rest of the staff that is fortunate enough to be here need to cover when they're gone, because we do not have enough subs, no surprise to anybody. We have all hands on deck, counselors, teachers, paraprofessionals, administrators are covering, and it causes a snowball effect, right? That's good. It's sustainable short term, but not long term. When our counselors are covering the classes, they're not doing their counseling jobs, and that work is waiting for them and piling up, when they're done subbing, if they get done subbing. Sometimes those are 3, 4, 5 days in a row. That's just one example. And then for our teachers that are here, they're teaching students who are not only in the classroom but also quarantined at home because of close contacts or the COVID virus. So they're kind of in two places at once, which if you talk to any educators in other districts that are doing that model, it is very difficult to be in two places at once for, again, sustainability. Stress and social emotional fatigue, of course, I've mentioned, and a lot of the prep time this year has been eliminated due to the increased supervision. So it's not just covering other classes. From the moment that our students are walking in the door, they don't have recess or they don't congregate in the commons, they go right to the classroom. So you think, oh, it's 30 to 45 minutes, but that's 30 to 45 minutes that the staff has been used to planning, prep, communicating, calling, emailing parents, etc. And then even the lunch periods have been shortened and adjusted, and even let's take a specials, right? FIED at the elementary used to be 2 30-minute periods per week. Now, is 1 50-minute period per week. And if so it all adds up. All that time has been shortened, and if you got to cover, it was made with the COVID mitigation plans mainly in mind. And again, now that we've done it for 6 weeks, this Plan D is with the staff's longevity and social emotional well-being in mind. Some frequently asked questions. So we had, and I'll get to the survey results later here in this presentation, but we took a lot of the questions and comments and things to consider and turned them into FAQs. One of the questions, will we have to make up days in the summer with this plan? As you know, the DPI has a required minimum number of hours of instruction typically in a year. They waived it last year, and they have waived it again this year with 63 other things that they've extended as waivers in these unique times. And I've linked that in this presentation, which we shared. But here, I think I can just give you a flavor of the actual waiver. It's on the DPI website and some of the categories. Most are with curriculum and instruction. So there's the hours of instruction one I was referring to. So that's, we're on 3 pages here.
So how quickly are they reacting to waiver requests?
I'm not sure. Everybody like us is just kind of waiting. There's no deadline to submit, so we're kind of waiting. It's better to be slow with this, in case we have to change our plans and things. We can submit the waiver after that.
Okay. So we could start something, apply for the waiver.
Correct.
After, okay.
Yes. Pupil policies and services, from uniforms to age requirements, attendance, assessment records, etc. School personnel, educator effectiveness, staff development, evaluations, then special needs,
Historically, they've been kind of,
and transportation.
they haven't really done a lot of waivers in the past.
Oh, no, but since COVID, they've been very accommodating. Understanding, yep. So what would the non-student day look like for staff? So the answer to that would be creating and planning lessons, collaboration with colleagues, communication with families and students. And to be clear, we are not recommending synchronous learning where the teachers are going to be teaching. Again, this day is a day set aside for those things, not direct real-time instruction systemically. What will the non-school day look like for students? Again, optional extended learning opportunities. Another word for that, could be homework, right? It's like any other day, a Saturday or Sunday where we don't have school. It doesn't mean learning is going to stop, and homework may be assigned. Most typically will. Another question, what if kids' care costs present a hardship for family? And again, we want to let everyone know if this does present a hardship, to please reach out to our building principals for support. We understand that. Will meals be provided? Yes. And as I said in the survey, we consider delivering. Talk to Tammy in food service. A better idea might just be sending the kids home with the meals on whatever day we choose. If it's Friday, we'd send them home Thursday with them. If it's Wednesday, we'd send them home Tuesday. And if it's a Monday, we'd send them home Friday. So the previous day, we could send kids home with meals. If they're absent or whatever, forget them, then we could use our transportation services as well. Has the district considered hiring full-time substitute teachers? Yes, for a long time. Ultimately, we decided it would not help the situation. It's really a numbers game. Hiring somebody full-time doesn't increase the pool. It's a number of substitutes. It's a pool of substitutes issue, and hiring them full-time, which in essence, the subs that are available and willing are here basically full-time. And all it would do for our benefit is just increase the cost. And I answered this previously. Why are we not moving to Plan B or C? Again, the proposed change is made not because of the widespread outbreak of COVID in our schools. It's about teacher fatigue and allowing and creating more time weekly. So, and also the benefit of that is Plan D, this plan, has less impact on families. The hybrid model would be at-home days more, would include more at-home days. And obviously the full-time virtual or full-time at-home learning would be every day. So again, less impactful on families, better for kids to be in person 4 days a week. Some people asked, will this day remove the high school late start schedule on Wednesday, which was created this year? Answer to that is yes. They would do that work during the day without students. Will the calendar change for students in St. Croix Virtual Academy? No, it would remain the same. Will all schools in the district have the same non-school day for students? Yes, we understand that is best for families. Will this schedule, if approved, continue for the remainder of the year? To be determined, right? We'll continue to monitor and collaborate with public health on that.
Would we likely commit to the semester?
Would we likely commit to the semester?
For planning purposes, families.
Did you ask that because of families
Families.
planning?
Yeah, families would be able to plan better with some planning commitment.
The answer to that is yes.
Yeah. So first, until further notice, probably, unless something drastically changed. You know. Okay.
Right. We had 215 staff responses. Is really good. Kind of just see the demographics, which is representative of the makeup of our staff. Which schools they work in, buildings. So the staff, the option they chose the highest percentage at 55% was Fridays off, followed by Wednesdays and Mondays with the lowest percentage.
You're saying off. It's not off.
I'm sorry. Yeah, students. Non-student day. Should call it. So now the parent survey, 882 responses.
So do some people show up multiple times in this?
No. So if you,
So I selected both, right, elementary.
right, if you had two children in the elementary school, I think it would show up as a one vote for the elementary school.
But
But
if
if
you
you
have a
had,
kid in 3 schools, you'd show up as 3 people.
correct.
Disgusting.
Because it was a checkbox, not a multiple choice.
That was my assumption.
When do you need kids care on the day off? This 11.4%, I think, if I remember right, was about 94 kids as of 3 o'clock this afternoon.
If that helps to put anything into perspective, I think we have 82 registered currently. Not to say that they would be the same students, but not
A lot of them would be
a lot of them would be the same.
Yeah, so you're saying it's, probability is it's like a 20% increase would be high.
Correct.
And then, okay,
But that's only the elementary people voting, right? It wouldn't be high school people, right?
Correct. It's typically, I mean, it could be if they want to care for their, let's say, 12-year-olds. I mean,
Everybody had the option.
yeah.
So this is assuming an all-day kids care versus after school and before school, right?
Correct.
And, again, extensive plans with cohorting and just like we currently do, that would be made smaller groups. The thing is, we do have staff availability. That's not a problem, staff availability, because we would plan to use our paraprofessionals would be off, and I think the majority would be looking to be working anyway, so that's nice. We would potentially have more staff on site with smaller groups. The parents, almost 65% voted for Fridays, 19% Wednesdays, 16% Mondays. So, after seeing that, questions, comments, or
Was
discussion?
there a opportunity to oppose the plan and the surveys or anything like that? Would you not want to see this, or would?
There were not.
Okay.
There was not an opportunity for that, no.
There was a comment section that they could provide any feedback in, but there wasn't, do you want this or do you not? If that's what you're asking. So they had an opportunity to.
I guess, yeah. Thanks for clarifying.
So I heard from some people that the concern was not necessarily the education side of it at all. The first thing that was left to was Friday night lights, right? Will we have football on Friday night if we didn't have school on Friday?
Yes, this doesn't affect
That's what
extracurricular activities, practice.
No matter what day it is, if it's Wednesday, they'll still have after-school activities on Wednesdays. Is that?
Correct. It's just, yeah, correct. It's just like any other day we have off with
not
PD days, etc.
kids are not in the classrooms, right? Everything after 3:10 or 3:15 or whatever would be in the city.
Correct. Questions or comments from anybody in the chat?
Tim, so Scott, you asked about feedback from teachers, and I really want to add this because this is a tribute to our staff. Because I think there was a dozen teachers who maybe were, well, we're not sure about this, and I tribute to them as I really want to see my kids 5 days a week. So really willing to say, I'm still willing to do whatever it takes. And that's a tribute to our staff in that survey. That was really cool to see.
If approved and this plan comes to fruition, we anticipate Friday, October, is it 30th would be the best time to start. We would have started on the 23rd, but there already is no school that day. On the 23rd, it's what would have been our recommendation, but since there isn't, this would take place starting Friday, October 30th, if it were approved.
And I guess some of the comments I had from parents out there was some concern that this was a done deal, and that a decision had already been made, and that was not the case. We were collecting data on the survey, and hopefully those that wanted to participate did participate. It's critical to get that input from both the parents and the staff to make reasoned decisions. It's critical to get the most information possible to make the best decision. I don't know if there are any more out there online that have any more comments this time. But we are looking at going forward and discussing this, and I don't know if we're going to go through and actually approve this tonight, or we're going to bring it up later. I think that probably the earlier the decision is made, better for planning purposes, but we need to postpone this for a couple of weeks. Done, but earlier is better for planning
I have
purposes.
one question on it. So,
Yes.
so a lot of this is predicated on staff, right? And I get it because I get emails on Sundays or Saturday mornings now for Bryn. So that's why I'm getting those emails where I used to get it during the break time in previous years. So I get that that's happening and we're extending and we're working longer and weekends and everything like that. So, I mean, I could see it coming. What was their feedback? Still from the staff, right? So the thought is to keep them in mind to do this and do a better job. So what was the feedback from the staff? I heard that they wanted to be there from a few. But were they appreciative? Do they think it's a good idea? Do they not? Right, because I only heard the 10 or 11 or 12 or whatever it was that.
The feedback was overwhelmingly appreciated, and they were surprised that we were aware of their struggle, and really appreciated the fact that we recognized that some of the things they were going through, and So there was lots of comments of appreciation for looking out for them.
If it's that obvious 5 weeks in, what about 15 weeks from now?
We're not alone, it's universal.
I'm sure.
Any principal in any building across the state, it's the same thing.
So other districts are starting some things, right? And
Hudson and Richmond are doing Wednesdays. I think Hudson is a 2-hour early out, and New Richmond is a 2-hour late start on Wednesdays.
But Hudson just went to hybrid.
We just run the hybrid.
they just did that.
They did.
Both, okay. You know, we mentioned that at first, it's 2, and then we quickly arrived at 2 hours was not enough for our staff to be their best weekly.
That doesn't make the school empty just because you leave. I mean,
Yeah, but at best to be an hour and a half after
it
transition.
at best.
Their supervision starts so much earlier, so say 2 hours, but really 45 minutes before they get into their classrooms to start the day is when their supervision starts. So like Tim said, it's really providing probably an hour and 15 minutes.
I think I would just want to reiterate, it's the sustainability of staff. And I mean, if we don't do something, it's some kind of, it will be like Hudson and them who move to the hybrid. And some of those kids are home there 3 days a week versus continuing finding working 4 days.
I just want to acknowledge administrators for noticing this and bringing it forward. You know, we focused on student mental health, and then last year we really said, hey, we had staff that we need to worry about too, and we did a lot of things to improve health and vitality of staff, so I really think this is the right thing to do for our team. The other thing I just need to acknowledge is that all of the COVID protocols and stuff already has cut into school instruction time. So, you know, to take another day out of school instruction is just going to put more burden on the teachers to teach more stuff in shorter and shorter time. So we're just going to have to think about, you know, in terms of that academic excellence, our bar may have to be just a little bit, you know, and I think we need internally talk about, well, what is it that we're not going to do this year that we would have liked to do? And I just think you need to have that permission to have that conversation, because my guess is, and I'll just wild ass guess it, an hour of their normal teaching day is already lost to doing stuff related to COVID, you know, and Cindy and I were out in Montana a week or so ago, and it was Tom's second week of school. So you got transition from summer off to working, and that's a transition. The kid was just physically exhausted. I mean, he could hardly get from his car to inside the house. And I think that's every teacher in the United States is feeling that way. So I applaud you for bringing this forward. And I'll say just give you permission to think about what is it during the school day that maybe we just can't do anymore. But with all the things that are going on, to just say, hey, here's some things that if we really had everything we wanted, but it's okay to take this back. And I think people should be thinking about that, because you don't have as many hours in classroom instruction that we had last year. Good recommendation.
Well, I would comment too that when we came forward with the reopening plan back in July, knew going in that our weakest link in the whole process was our teaching staff. We needed to keep those in the classroom and to keep them healthy. I think we all acknowledge that with COVID out there, it's putting a stress on everybody, including families. Parents are having to both worry about their kids not getting sick, providing that, hoping that they are provided an education, and they're still having to find time to go to work. So they're having to jockey a lot of schedules, and that's causing a lot of stress on them as well. So we realize that it's a stressful time for everybody. I think this plan is, with the circumstances out there, is probably the best we can come out with at this time, to keep both the teachers healthy and to get us the focused, strong education that our kids need, and to keep them in the classes as much as possible. We all acknowledge that the in-person class is probably the optimal for most of our students. So I guess that would be some of my comments.
I support the proposal, and I'm pleased that it was organic from the administration, that they noticed this and wanted to bring it forward. I want to acknowledge, though, your presentation went through the whys, right, of why we should support this, but it didn't go through the why nots. And so I had to weigh the why nots with the whys in order to come down. And so I just want to talk a few of those things that I thought about before I decided that I have support for this. One is the education that'll be missed. You know, we're not going to do a hybrid where the kids are still learning on that day. And so there'll be a full day of missed education, which is a lot, depending on where you are in education. The second thing is the family stress. I think everyone will acknowledge that this will just add another layer of, now what are we going to do? How are we going to handle this? Who are the people that have to work 2 jobs and don't have daycare, don't have grandma? You know, that family stress is out there. That would be a why not. That would weigh on the why not side. I think there's a public perception, potentially, why not, of, well, I'm working harder at my job because of COVID. Everybody's got to roll a little bit harder. We're all in this together. You know, that would be a why you shouldn't do this, because there'll be a public perception of that. Again, I don't agree with it, but there will be there, and I think we need to acknowledge that. The last thing that I think was most concerning is just the idea of 1 day out of school that may provide an opportunity for additional COVID exposure, because you're going to have those kids that aren't going to be in that class with their cohort group, with that teacher, and now they're going to be at grandma's, at the neighbors, at their sisters down the street. They're going to be getting together and screwing off. I don't know, but you know what I mean. It presents an opportunity that may otherwise not have been there, and that's a risk when we do that. So there's not going to be learning that's happening that day, which means they can do whatever they want. So I just wanted to point those out, because that's kind of what had gone through my brain when I was thinking about the why wouldn't we do this? Because it just seems so obvious when you put the whys on there. So
is there not going to be any learning at home, homework, anything online, or anything like that recommended for students? Or would it just be a 20% reduction?
So there would still be, like I said, it'd be a homework or activities assigned. We have to be cognizant, however, of equity issues, so that, it'd be like, basically, that's why we call it optional, right? I mean, at the end of the day, everything's optional for a student, but it wouldn't be a synchronous direct instruction day. It'd be extended learning opportunities. So it's not like learning is completely stopped. And it's certainly not as good as direct instruction. Certainly acknowledge what you said. We knew that.
So it would be paid for.
I think some of the comments from the parents too were that trying to set up that synchronous and doing that would add a lot of stress to them, to try and have them log in and do the online learning at home. And that was part of the thing. A lot of those comments were, or some of those comments, that it wasn't as successful last year to be able to get my kids online, and then I'm teaching them. I think that was part of our conversation and our thought as well, and that's stress that they can't control. So, which is that type
There was expensive conversation. High school teachers using Friday as difficult. We don't have a waiting period now because of the, that mixing and time constraints and all that. So that's something that can discuss as well. So, I think Brian, you mentioned something about paper. There's a lot of Google Classroom content that will be in there for them. Doesn't mean they intensely that you're striking a balance. I guarantee there'll be content out there for them to explore, and we're going to strongly encourage them to do that. Is it required? Because of that,
But it'll be content that they can access at school and have on their Chromebook when they go home. They don't need connectivity to do it, right?
depending on what it is, they could download the video and use it on the
Right. And that's something we have to be aware of and instruct the instructors that make sure that connectivity is not the barrier to them having work at home.
So, but that, I mean, the Chromebook started grade 5, taking them home, or 6 taking them home?
They're having a hard time hearing. Either we gotta speak really loud or shut the air handlers off. I don't know what. Best option.
Grade 6. But last year when we had to go, we allowed grade 5 to take them. So
And we allow 3 and 4 at elementary.
we would probably do the same thing for this. Is release their Chromebooks to that Friday.
Okay, so then if you did paper, that wouldn't be an additional burden on teachers on Monday to have to correct this huge influx of paper that comes back, because then we're defeating the purpose, right? It would be kind of self-teaching or self-learning, or a para or somebody would help correct those.
The general rule is that we wouldn't want new learning, because we don't want to cause home frustration. It would be extensions or practice.
But I think, yeah, the bottom line becomes, I'd rather have my teacher at their best with my kid 4 days a week than super stressed 5 days a week, because I think the net loss can be obvious.
We agree completely.
And I think that we've made it very clear as a board that, we don't want good teachers, we want great teachers. And the way that we keep great teachers is we keep them healthy, mentally and physically. And if we see that there is something that's going on that can impede them from being the great teachers that they are, then yeah, we can take those steps to ensure that continues.
Okay, is there any other discussion that we need to cover on this item?
Anything in chat? Anything in chat?
We need some chopsticks for you.
No, there were some questions about the whys or something. They joined late, so but we can send the PowerPoint. It's all there, covered it.
And then they had just asked about requirement extending the year, but they were able to answer those questions.
You'd asked if you want to extend this and approve it 2 weeks. If so, that would just extend our implementation, the deadline. We wouldn't want to do it a week after that, right? We want to allow at least 2 weeks if you approve it for implementation and planning and communication.
Kids care primary grade school.
Primarily, yep.
You have 5th and 6th graders at all?
Well, I think we're gonna try to elicit some feedback on that, Jeff. We want to be as accommodating as we can to these families. I wouldn't say it's out of the question.
Because, they're then even 7th and 8th grader, most parents are not going to.
But I really want to predicate that though, in regards to not adding burden to Ms. Ustart in the elementary. Something that maybe we could ourselves work out.
I'm worried about that statistic, because is it really only 20% that need it, or was it 20% of everybody who responded to the survey, in which case, of course, the high school people that responded would check no. So is there going to be a larger number of, I'm worried that statistic isn't right.
But it was 93. Well, you can click on it, it's actually 93.
I said 20% above what takes it every day the way it is. So we have a day off.
Oh,
it would be like
okay, so
20%
outside of the
all.
percentages, it was only 93.
It's 80 something
Oh,
now, it was
okay,
90
okay,
something.
okay, that
So
makes
based on
sense.
what takes it every day, I'm like, so it's about 25% above what take it. So it seemed
Standard deviation.
reasonable.
Yeah.
Like that would be.
That number aligns with about the number of kids we have in the spring, when we started kids care again. When we were out.
July 1, yeah, July 6 or whatever. Yeah.
One of the things that I asked Tim about is maybe for the middle school, almost do kind of like a Friday grass program. And, you know, we have budget for the Y, maybe we ask them if they want to do a Friday program for middle school kids. So I just think that tweeners are not gonna, parents are not gonna want them to stay home alone all by themselves. But they're gonna feel comfortable going to elementary school.
Give them structure.
So I think we should really think about something that, for that middle school age in particular.
Well, I offered it 2 years ago when we went back to our summer school 8 to noon. We had a consistent 20 to 25, fifth, sixth, couple seventh graders that would stay 5 days a week until 4-ish. So yeah, we could definitely either staff from the Y or.
Right now, we've lost our contact with the White Death.
And I'm not saying the Y, I'm just saying the grass
Right.
type of program. that-
And staff it with paras or with,
Yep.
with somebody who's looking for the work and not needing the break, the mental health break part of it.
And I think if it were to be approved and once we find a day, a lot of the comments stated that depending on the day, I may or may not need it. So I think we'd have to do some type of survey again, if it were to be approved and the day.
Sign up.
But yeah, so it just gives us a better idea of actual numbers.
Do you need that before it's considered?
If it's approved, you'll have to put out a sign up
Sign
out
up,
there. Would you
yeah.
be
Yeah.
interested or would you need it?
Yeah.
And we staff it accordingly.
So our paras and everybody, so what happens that day with, right, so we talked about the teachers. The paras are roughing as well or not needed in some cases.
There will be work opportunities available. Some indicated that, you know, they would be fine taking the day off, but those that are looking for work, much like we talked about with our plan, you know, there'll be opportunities, sign up opportunities. It kind of depends because they have so many unique needs. But yeah, we would like to
Then
offer those opportunities.
there's one more population that I would talk about is the special needs kids might need to have access to their staff or their para or the school or something on those days. Has that been discussed or?
Yes.
It's been discussed, and I think part of it, we have to offer, if we're offering to the other students education, we need to offer it to them. We wouldn't need to necessarily meet them at minutes, but I know several of our special ed teachers have already said, would we be able to bring them in for part of the day? We want them, your special ed teachers obviously need the time as well. But I think that's will be up to them.
Sure.
And certain populations of them may need to be here and we.
Right, and if it's a less structured day, that might not be the entire burden on the teacher. The other paras might take portions of that.
And I wouldn't venture to see them here all day, but to meet some of those needs for that, but we, as a legal requirement, we don't require other students to attend, we will not need to.
No, I was thinking more if they need to.
Yeah.
Not required, but it's in their best interest to be here.
Okay, is there any other discussion?
So if we consider tonight, you're talking 30th. If we wouldn't do it tonight, you would be talking the 13th of November-ish.
Yeah, because the next board meeting's the 19th.
Yeah.
So you want to allow a couple weeks after that.
So you would do the 6th or the 13th. It would seem like you'd do the 13th.
Probably the 13th.
Yeah. So then, I mean,
One that allow for
I don't
2
see any reason not to address it tonight. And you could do the 13th, you could do January if we approve it, you could do whatever. We're giving you more flexibility by addressing it sooner than later if it's approved, right? And flexibility is probably more beneficial to the district, the admin team, than waiting for 2 more weeks of discussion.
Okay, is there any other discussion that we need on
Is
this?
there, the admin have are we gonna pick the day? Are you guys gonna pick the day? Do you have a recommendation? And I appreciate your recommendation is to go to 4-day. Do you have a recommendation on which day?
Our recommendation based on the surveys is Fridays.
Okay, is there any other discussion we need on this?
Can we take action? Is there any reason we can't take action on that?
I don't see any reason.
None that I
why
can
not.
think of.
I make a motion that we authorize the administration to implement 4-day school week with Friday being the day that students not required to be.
Okay, do I have a second to that motion?
Second.
I have one more discussion.
Okay.
I just want, on the kids' care for the elementary kids, that's gonna be staffed by the parents or other staff. Well, it wasn't clear to me that you'll still have to pay for that, for people to go to that?
Yes.
I mean, if you're able, that would
Yes,
be the,
it's more likely the more paraprofessionals use, the less that daily fee would be.
oh, okay.
So we have to, yeah.
And if the fee is prohibitive to the family, they should need to contact the administrator.
Yes,
That's
we're
correct.
prepared to support them
Yeah.
if anyone needs anything.
Okay, is there any other discussion? Okay, those, at this point, I'll entertain a motion to approve the, we have the motion on the floor, so all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. See if we can move forward with this expeditiously as needed.
I just want to thank you guys for listening and taking our observations into consideration with this. I just want to leave you with, this is not what any of us want. We want our kids in school 5 days a week, and our staff really do too. And so we hope sooner than later that is the truth, fact, but there's just a lot. And so, thank you.
And if you, I really want to reach out that if you want to hear personal examples and stories, I'd love to share them just as a tribute of our staff. I don't think this would be the forum for it, but they're working their tails off and they've just been amazing.
Okay,
Welcome to school in the age of COVID.
okay, with that, then we will move on to the next item, which is consideration of approval of the NC LED lighting project. Okay, this was presented at our meeting last week. And we asked that they review some of the numbers. And, with that, if you get some of the numbers and proposals, with that, I guess we'll open it up. I think they are online, aren't they, Tim?
Yep. Bagel, yay, for sure, I see.
Hi, Tim.
Hey, good evening. Good on you. Go ahead.
Hey, good evening, everybody. How's it going?
Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity again to discuss this lighting project with you guys. Dale has put tremendous effort into doing the revisions with Todd Emmy. So I am going to let Dale kind of lead this conversation with you guys.
Thanks, Jay. Tim, are you able to bring up that email I had sent you with the spreadsheet kind of showing the cash flow positives and the ones that were not?
Yeah, we've got the, I don't know if you can
Perfect.
see it in the camera. What's that?
I can see it, Tim.
Yeah, so the one, I think this one is the best one for just summarizing
Correct.
all the different options. Each board member has one in front of them, yes.
Okay, so to start off with here, depending on which option you want to stress the most, I just wanted to give you several different options, whether it's a 5-year, a 7-year, or a 10-year muni lease. And I tried to describe them on the left-hand side, mentioning which ones were the relamp options, which ones included the stadium lighting, which ones did not. So is there any specific one that you want to take a look at, or maybe you guys saw when I sent this over, Tim, that you want me to, I guess, bring up on the screen and discuss?
I guess the option that we're looking at, I looked at the comparison of fixture option versus the relamping.
Okay.
I guess, can you explain what the difference is there, basically?
Sure. Between the fixture and the relamping, the difference is instead of keeping existing fixtures, let's just say a troffer in your ceiling, for example, maybe in the offices area or classrooms, instead of leaving the existing fixture in and relamping them with LED tubes and bypassing the ballast, we're taking out the existing fixture in the fixture option and putting in brand new sealed flat panel fixtures.
Okay.
So that's
The benefit, Dale, I want to interject on that one a little bit. The benefit to the fixture option is the fact that you now have controllability of the fixtures we put in versus the lamp option, which would function in the same manner as your current lighting system works now.
Okay. The question that I had when I looked at your funding proposals, and I'm looking at the annual energy savings, and I'm seeing that the options, the annual energy savings for the fixtures, I'm saving less money on replacing the fixtures than I am by just doing the relay. Can you discuss why that is?
Absolutely. Dale, can I field this one?
Go ahead.
So our fixture options, especially for the troffers, the 2x4s that you see in your office areas, hallways, drop ceilings, that LED replacement is a 30 watt to a 40 watt fixture option. If we were to relamp and bypass the ballast, we'd be replacing 1-for-1 your fluorescent tube with a LED tube at 12 watts each. So that being said, we would end up putting in on a 4-lamp troffer, 48 watts versus the 40 or 30 watt panel that a new fixture would give you. So definitely a more costly option. However, the savings are greater on the fixture and will always be greater on the fixture. So you have that mixed with a fully sealed fixture that now updates the look of the school and gives it just a brand new look.
And what is the difference in the lifespan of relamping versus a new fixture?
I wish I could tell you that there is a difference. The quality of our products are rated at the same hours, so you're going to get the same lifespan. As discussed in last week's meeting, these products are rated for 100,000 hours. When your classrooms are only burning 2,000 or 2,500 hours a year, the sustainability is incredible of the product.
Okay. Board members, other questions, comments?
Does the administration have a recommendation of all these different options? What are you recommending we do?
Greg, Jen, and I have never sat down. I mean, we understand that we don't want to have a big budget impact. That was not, that was what was fun bracket when we were first made aware of the idea, be budget neutral. But Greg, we all agree that the fixture option would be the best. So to kind of reach a compromise, this is my recommendation, would be the first standard colored one of 10 years for $361,493, which would be $199 per month, would be $2,388 budget impact annually. Over the course of the project, $23,880. I just, rather than roll that amount into a potential referendum, I think that's the best option of my opinion. So, Greg, you agree, or you have a little slightly different opinion?
I agree totally, gonna dress up the room, with some of the old pictures of Newman, with less pictures than are in there now. With new pictures. Brighter lights, the work that we do, replacing walls, before, it's not getting cheaper for less involved and or the recycling not involved.
So,
It would be great to see new fixtures. We've got a lot of fixtures that are in pretty bad shape for the year.
guys, can I ask you what the warranty is on the panel fixtures? And
Sure.
is it-
Typically, the warranty on those fixtures are 5 years, but for your project, I was able to broker a longer warranty. The factory right now is willing to give me a 7-year manufacturer warranty. What I will do for you guys on this project is include my labor, which standard Wisconsin labor is only 1 year. I will include my labor on the warranty as well for 5 years. So product for 7, labor 5 years.
Thank you.
And may I add a few things to fixture options since you guys are speaking of that one? The first thing is the $199 cash flow negative is not throughout the whole duration. Every year that number will go down. At about year 3, if you look at the spreadsheet, I believe it's like $60 or $20 where it's at. I'd also like to express the fact that we've all pretty much agreed that our calculation for the maintenance that you're currently spending is somewhat lower than what you actually are spending. So although not in the calculations in front of you, we can agree that you will see more maintenance savings. So I would say that you're actually a little bit better than what we're even presenting at this point.
I have a question here. So I'm looking at the first salmon. I wish these were numbered, but they're not. The first salmon and the third salmon. Are those the identical things, but we're paying it over a shorter time period?
Correct. 7
And
years
so
versus-
why is my project total amount then the same? Shouldn't the 7-year be less?
The lease payment would be more, it's for 10, so it's just about the payment. It's just it's the term of the payment.
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying if I'm paying over 7 years, shouldn't I be paying a total amount less?
The project cost.
The project cost doesn't change. It's just finance amount.
Yeah.
Because that to me should be another column in here where I know what the total outlay is. Because then I can look at whether it's worth it to pay a little bit more every month, like what the difference is.
And what is the typical rate on financing?
Dale, I'll let you answer that one because you dealt with Todd.
Sure. If Todd's here, he can jump in with the number, but I know that when Todd did the rates on this, and I mentioned this into the email I had sent Tim, the rates change on a daily basis, but he did it based off the Moody's ratings. So I know that it was at the most competitive rate. He gave a little wiggle room, so we're on the upper side of it, so that it actually comes in lower when the application is submitted. Todd, are you on right now?
It shows he's on, but he's muted.
Oh, okay. He just texted me. He said about 3%. And that's what he put in here, but it's probably slightly better than that. But that's what he put in. Just over 3.
Yeah, for me, it's more about the lease stuff.
Yeah, I understand.
But I do, there's also fiscal responsibility.
there other questions? I guess one of the other assumptions that was made is that there's a 2% increase in the utility cost per year. And I haven't seen on my electric bill, with Excel, I haven't seen an increase in my utility costs in the last 3 or 4 years.
You're saying that's a flaw in the assumption on the amendment.
Yeah.
That's a good point that you brought up there with the 2%. I just want to point that out, and I definitely agree. If your bill is saying that that's what's taking place, based on a lot of businesses right now not being out there, a lot of bills aren't going to be paid. So you have that, and a lot of the companies have maintenance that have not taken place on their facilities, and it's a widely anticipated increase coming in the kilowatt. So we don't have that included. At 2% is a normal, allowance that is put in proposals for the growth of kilowatt rate over the course of time. You may not have seen it on yours specifically, but based on the averages throughout the state, that's just a common number that is used.
Yeah, that's from years of working with the utility companies on, 400 or 500 projects a year that we do. They are telling us that's the average we'll see, but obviously it's case by case. And in your case, you're not seeing that yet, but does not mean that it's not coming on the horizon.
Right.
So, as I understand it, $200 a month is the budgetary impact to us. It'll decrease over time.
Correct.
Saves replacing light bulbs, it puts it up to place, I don't know why we're spending too much.
Yeah, I just spent, just shy of $300 just last week, taking our bulbs and down to recycling, $300. So, there you go.
So I move that we do salmon number 1, top on the list.
Is that what your recommendation is?
That was your recommendation, right?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, I have a motion. Second, Scott?
Yep, second.
Okay. Then what we are looking at is salmon option number 1, which is a fixture option for all district facilities with no stadium lighting included, for a sum of $361,493 financed over 10 years. So.
One more question, or
Okay.
I guess, guys, who is responsible for hauling off the bulbs and fixtures that you're replacing? I'm hoping that's part of the project. You guys are taking those and.
Absolutely. We will do a turnkey service for you. We will provide the product, all the lifts necessary, the labor, the recycling, the cleanup. We are even doing your focus on energy paperwork on your behalf, so you're not touching anything. We will take care of it. Myself, as vice president of the company, will be overseeing the project, and I will have my team coordinate with your team to make sure that this goes smoothly and flawlessly.
I just don't want to get everything replaced and have us be stuck with hundreds of bulbs.
No, that's definitely included.
Okay. Is there any other discussion that we need to focus on this item?
I have a natural visceral reaction to buy something I wasn't shopping for. And so that's like somewhere in me going, I'm getting stole bill of goods here. That's my only reservation. I mean, but if you're, sounds like from.
We've been looking at this for a while.
Yeah. So
It's pretty, and it's straightforward. It's not like a major $24 million project where it's pretty straightforward. It's money, so we're comfortable. I understand that.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. So we can get that started then.
All right, we'll be in touch probably tomorrow, guys.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, next item on the agenda is consideration of approval the second reading of Board Policy 113, Title 9.
All right, so I did forward this to our legal counsel, Barry, and he looked at it. One of his comments was somebody put a lot of work into this policy. So he did make it a priority because I said we had the meeting tonight. So here, I just, rather than highlight them, because some things are deleted, which is hard to highlight. So page 1, he just asked that we put at the very top, in front of the very first line, board does not unlawfully discriminate. So you wanted to include unlawfully because there are some things that we legally can't discriminate on. The second change is page 2. He said the definition of sexual harassment. If you still had last week's copy, it was over a page long, sexual harassment. His comments were it's way more detailed than it need to be. You know, if we wanted to leave it, great, but we have to change and amend our policy every time something changed because there were lots of state statutes and very, very specific definitions of all the many harassment that could, sexual harassment things that could. So deleted that and just meant defined it as under Title 9 regulations as that term is defined as by the state statute. So it refers to that, and so when it changes, this policy doesn't have to change. Just efficiency thing. The third or 4 changes. The third one just had an incomplete sentence on page 10, and the last one was on page 14. Page 14. There was a provision preventing complainants from appealing. Ultimately, disciplinary sanctions may violate the regulations requiring that both parties have equal appeal rights. So he suggested alternative language under the appeals process that we included on page 14. So those were the 4 changes that Pam and I made to this document for your second reading.
Yeah, thanks for having that review.
It's WASB legal counsel. There's, I think, 2. Have 2. Forms. Yeah.
Yeah, Barry Forrest and Bob Butler are the 2 attorneys on that.
That wasn't in that glossary sheet.
What's that?
That wasn't in that glossary sheet you gave me.
No, that's on the WASB website.
There was links. There was links.
But Barry's been there forever.
Yes.
Yeah, he's been there for well over 30 years.
Very responsive.
And Bob's been there for almost 10 years now.
So, it's one in the hierarchy question. So, you know, we have coordinator, investigators, decision makers, and appeals decision makers. What would happen if a person accused would be in an administrative level? Like, how would that work?
That's not included in this.
I didn't catch it. Maybe I
Similar things it is.
missed it. Or, I mean, it looks like it's Leah's the one, right? But I was just kind of.
Well, it does address a little bit on page 4 near the bottom.
Yeah.
Conflict of interest, and it's made against the respondent. Complainant. Yeah. Just says the
So the
board.
board will be responsible to determine how to handle it.
Remedies, yeah.
So just kind of general, but making sure like everybody knew that if that happens, it's coming. Then right.
That's what it says there on page 4. The board will. The board's a remedy on that.
Okay. And we've noted that. Do we have the noted changes? Is there anything else that we need to change or address with this policy? Okay, hearing none, then I will ask for a motion to approve as as a second reading and adoption of Board Policy 113, Title 9. I have a motion, Deanne. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Kirk. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, other business. Reminder to submit the thank yous and recognitions on the Google Docs for the next meeting. If you have somebody you would like to recognize or thank, please include that on that spreadsheet. Is there any other business we need to address?
One question that pertains back into the 4-day week. Where are we seeing most of this occur? I'm assuming it's outside of school, not inside of school as far as spread goes, right?
Yeah, there has been no origin within the school. All of it, almost every case of the now 8 originated from the family.
So with that, do we know, I mean, I read it, like your emails, I appreciate like the reminders, like do we need to do more of that? Just because the only concern I see is it's migrating up the west side of Lake Michigan, right? And now it's starting to migrate to the west in a lot of spread. Just do we need to do any encouragement to staff and others? Just because that's what everybody is seeing is it occurs outside of work, right? So kind of safer at work, safer at home, or anything like that. We need to start thinking about those communications or education. You don't have to answer. Just it's a lot, I know, but
Tell people to stay away from their family.
well,
I'm
kidding.
It's fatigue, right? I've read a lot of stuff, and it's people reach fatigue and then are doing the things that prevented the spread now. And I don't know, as much as we could remind them, I don't know. It's such a sensitive subject.
Yeah.
Because then it opens up that can of, you're going to tell me how to live my life
yeah,
now.
no, I get at work, just
Very
like we started and reignited the whole communication to our employees again, just because it's coming, right? I mean, so they've really started to push that again, because at work, we're seeing it's all but 2 of it traced back to going out or whatever at work, right? I mean, that's where they've all been traced back to, of the few hundred cases now. So I'm just asking, and I know that doesn't necessarily do anything, and you can only do so much, but
Without getting on my soapbox, but I mean, the CDC has been around for 100, plus years, and communicable diseases have been around even longer, and the science behind all, so it's like, but you can put the data out there, but you can't people know it. Our employees, yes, certainly feel comfortable doing that. But as far as students' families, it's a little dicier.
yeah.
Okay.
He had to do some traveling, and they required him to wear a certain kind of mask when he traveled, and it said that he had to shave his beard off, so he had a beard for 30 years, and and shave it
My
off.
employer made me do that too.
Shave it. Just so
Okay. Is there anything else that we need to discuss on other business? I guess I would have one thing yet is we have our Bagel Appreciation Breakfast on Wednesday, and Brian has been ramrodding that. And I don't know if he has come up with a cost yet for board members.
So Pam, I called on Thursday, I called on Friday, I called on Saturday, and I went there on Sunday, and we confirmed this morning.
Okay.
Wow.
And I don't have a total yet, but
Okay.
I have the quantity. I'm like, we'll figure that out on Wednesday morning if we have to, but
Okay.
I'm not volunteering next year.
You don't get to unvolunteer
Yeah.
anything, sorry.
I think you gotta find your own replacement.
I was almost gonna buy Bagel.
Okay. Well, with that, we'll move on to the important dates then. Again, the staff appreciation bagel breakfast starting 7:15 a.m. at each building on this Wednesday, October 7th. Reminder, October 8th, this Thursday, is the WASB Fall Regional Meeting starting at 7 p.m. This meeting will be held virtually, remotely. I believe everybody has received the link on that for that meeting from Pam. If not, get a hold of Pam and she can get you that link. October 19th is our next regularly scheduled board meeting starting at 7 p.m. at the district office. November 2nd is a regularly scheduled SCC board learning and special meeting at 6:30 at the district office, and November 16th is our regularly scheduled board meeting at 7 p.m. at the district office. And then again, January 20 through 22, the WASB State Education Convention, which will be held virtually this year. Is there any other dates that I missed? Hearing none, I will entertain a.
Move adjourn. Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, meeting is adjourned. Way to run a railroad.